When you think BMW leader bike, you'd expect a price tag of over 1 million pesos. So I was quite surprised when I saw the price tag on this. It's not quite a leader bike, but almost. This is the BMW F900R, and it sells for just 655,000 pesos. Is it worth the money? Let's find out. The F900R is a naked middleweight roadster that offers plenty of tech, plenty of safety features, and also plenty of Pogi points. Calm down, ladies, or Ganda points if you'd rather have that. Here in the Philippines, BMW offers two variants for the F900R. This right here is the base model. It sells for 655,000 pesos. There's also a higher model that sells for 775,000 pesos with more features. But we'll talk about that later. For now, let's talk about this bad boy right here. So all variants come with the same engine. This is an 895cc liquid-cooled parallel twin dual overhead cam engine. It produces 105 horsepower and 92 Newton meters of torque. It's coupled to a 6-speed gearbox. Supposedly it can do 0 to 100 kph in 3.7 seconds. If you're a car person, that's about as quick as a Lamborghini Murcialago. As for the suspension, at the front it has an upside-down telescopic fork. At the back it has dual swing arms with a single shock absorber. By the way, all variants come with a steering damper as standard. The brakes at the front are dual 320mm floating discs with 4-piston calipers, and at the back it has a single 265mm floating disc with a single piston caliper. So let's talk about the numbers. It has a 13-liter fuel tank. The weight is 211 kilograms, but you don't feel the weight so much because a lot of it is down low. The center of gravity is pretty low. Seat height is 815mm, which is just right for me. I can almost flat foot this thing. So Bethel here is 5'4". Buka. Huwag tatanong na. Sige. Sige.
Bro, can I just do that? Oh no, what are you doing?
Bahay pa mo.
Oh, okay. Alright. Okay.
So if you're under 5'6", you definitely want a lower seat for this.
Paano ako bababa?
Kaya mo yan. But of course, it's BMW, so it's going to be quite expensive. Another option is to have the seat shaved. So what some people do is they shave the foam to make the seat lower, and that's going to be a more cost-effective option. Okay, so this is a pretty high-tech bike. It has keyless ignition, so as long as you have the key fob in your pocket, you can start the bike by pressing this button. I've lost count of how many times I've left the key in the ignition, so this is definitely a welcome feature. The gas tank cap is also keyless, so you don't need to insert the key, you just need to have the key fob in your pocket. Okay, so the bike has a 6.5-inch TFT screen. The resolution is pretty good, and it's visible in all lighting conditions. So, yeah. So you have the F900R's version of the iDrive. Like the iDrive, you have a knob which you use to navigate through the menus. Here is your vehicle status. It has tire pressure monitoring, I believe. Or does it? Huh. I think it's supposed to. But maybe that's the style variant. You can see the engine temperature, your range. Yeah, there. Average speed is 48 kilometers per hour. Consumption, average consumption is 20 kpl. Huh. But I haven't been driving much on the highway. Puro city lang. You also have navigation, but you have to connect it to your phone. It has Bluetooth connectivity. You can also play songs through Spotify. You can make phone calls. Settings. There you go. The F900R has two drive modes. There's road and there is rain. So obviously rain is for rainy conditions like this. It softens the torque curve. I believe there's also a dynamic mode for the top of the line variant. It has ABS and traction control like all modern bikes should. So yeah, it's a pretty tech savvy bike. Okay, so the seating position is quite aggressive. I'm hunched forward like this. But not so much that I have a lot of weight on my wrists. It's still quite a comfortable position, but it's also very sporty. The foot pegs are pretty high. Yeah, it's good for cornering. It's a very good middle ground between comfortable and sporty. Minor complaints. One, it's a little hard. So it's been 2 years since my accident at the track, and this is my first time riding again. I promised everyone that I'd be careful, so I will not show myself riding aggressively in this video, because I never did. Wink wink. I didn't have time to go to the twisties, so I rode this mostly in city traffic, in very heavy rush hour traffic. I find that the riding position is just right. Even on a 40-minute long trip, I never had wrist pain. I once rode an R6 in 15 minutes of traffic and my wrists were complaining already. So this is definitely a lot more comfortable than an R6. Of course, as expected from a big bike, there's a bit of heat coming from the engine when you're in heavy traffic, but nothing that's too bothersome. Yeah, so riding impressions. So prior to getting this bike, I actually took an almost 2-year break from riding. So I was actually quite intimidated because it's a 900cc bike and my last bike was a 650. The first time that I rode this, I actually stalled this a couple of times. Yeah, that was quite embarrassing. There's very little torque down low, unlike my previous bike which had most of its torque down low. The torque here is mostly in the mid-range. So yeah, almost a 2-year break. It took me like 5 minutes to get used to it. So the throttle response is very smooth. Even in first gear, it's not jerky. I like the riding position. It's just aggressive enough that you don't feel like you're in a Harley, but it's also quite sporty. This is something that you can take to the track. The foot pegs are high. It's very ideal for cornering. And I'm hunched forward. I'm not upright like this. So yeah, if I had to nitpick, it's a bit tricky to find neutral. You have to really pull on the clutch just to be able to get a slim chance of finding neutral. And even then, it's not guaranteed. Or maybe I just need more time to get used to it. Number two would be the turn indicator button. I feel like I find that I have to lift my wrist off the handlebar to access it. And aside from that, there's really nothing else. When you're just riding it normally, it feels like a regular bike. It doesn't feel like it's gonna kill you. But when you push it hard, the power is there. If you're a beginner and you buy a 250cc bike, you'd probably grow out of it pretty fast. If you buy a 1-liter Super Sport, you'd probably end up in the hospital pretty fast as well. I think the F900R is good for the beginners looking for something that he or she can grow into. It has plenty of customizable driver aids. It has plenty of safety features. It's quite forgiving. It's comfortable enough to be a daily. It's sporty enough to take to the track on the weekends. And best of all, and this is something that you might not expect from a premium brand like BMW, it offers excellent value for money. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.